I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dr. General Doctor warns cigarette smoking is dangerous, bad for your health. Does that mean anything to you?
I'm not 18. Oh, gosh.
I'm paying attention. There's some weird interviews out there that like, how old are you? She's like, I'm 22, and he's like, expired. I'm like, oh, what? It's crazy.
Say something is expired. How dare they? So what's cracking, man?
19 expired.
Oh, God.
You're like, I don't know what this guy's about.
That's prime years, technically.
To start off, I guess. Are we live or are we still?
I mean, we're always live.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. Just hang out.
Mm.
Shoot the shits. Yeah.
Or shooting.
What?
Shooting the shit?
Yeah.
Shooting turds?
I don't know why that didn't come across my head so fast. Yeah, man. What was the most recent documentary you've watched?
Probably the Matt Walsh stuff on Daily Wire. The Am I Racist and What is a Woman?
This early. Let's get started.
It was cool. It was funny. Am I Racist was probably more my favorite one.
Yeah. So I always hear about it, and everyone says it's such a good documentary.
It's a good documentary. It's an overstatement.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Is it kind of just like people have a preconceived notion of a race, and sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not?
Well, I think my favorite part of that movie was that he attends different seminars, and next to the speaker, he shows how much that speaker is being paid. So, like one of the ladies, I think it was like maybe $7,000, and it's like a maybe 2-hour class, and it was full of white folks, and she was black, and she talks about. I think it was more. Really, it's about him answering the questions, but she was talking about like microaggressions. Be aware of your privilege. So those kind of things, and it's like, it's just kind of weird how people buy into it on both sides. They say, I feel guilty because everyone's telling me I'm white and I should feel guilty, so I feel guilty. I'm going to pay this money and attend this class. And then the other side is saying they should feel guilty. I'm going to buy into that mentality. So it's kind of like scary.
It's like a manipulation of someone's skin color.
Well, manipulation, or it's just how easy the manipulation can happen. Because it could easily be the other way. I'm XYZ color. I should love the other XYZ color. It could be from negative to positive. I should love everybody, right?
Yeah.
Or like, I'm XYZ color. I should. I don't know. Like, try thinking to stereotypes. Like, I'm Asian. I should be good at math.
Yeah.
That brings more positive.
Yeah.
I feel like versus I'm white. I invented racism.
True.
Like a positive, even though they're both stereotypes and they both play into what it shouldn't create and mold your reality. The one's a more positive result than the other.
Yeah. It's like black guys being good at sports.
Right. It's like, actually, we can all be good.
Actually, everyone can be. Except. Yeah. I don't know. I always get into like watching it, and I get to the point where I can press play.
I did watch the Alex Jones documentary too. Did you watch that one about how he went to court for
the
Sandy Hook comments? The parents sued him.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about any of that. Obviously, that was pretty stupid of him to do. But at the same time,
if you hear all the things he's ever said, he throws a lot of shit out there. Some of it sticks. Some of it turns out to have some valid. Like it's It's like driving on the highway, and you're saying, "I'm gonna come on exit 150." You get off on 148. Like you're on the right path. You just got off. You veered right somewhere different.
You just went completely a little bit right.
Yeah. So you went somewhere else, but you were on the right path. Like the whole chemicals in the water turning you gay turned out to have some validity because the water was actually I don't know if it was helping or forcing the frogs to turn gender. Yeah, they were turning them from males to females. Yeah, it's kind of like frogs do that.
It's kind of like you know how to test spaghetti? You just throw it to the wall.
Mm-hmm. Some of it sticks, man.
Yeah, some of it sticks.
Yeah, like the whole fluoride in water. Mm-hmm. There's fluoride is you need fluoride. Yeah, too much fluoride makes you literally retarded. Like it binds to receptors in your brain, and they don't unbind, so you lose.
It gets kind of weird. It's kind of like you remember, I think what Tommy Boy when they were making jokes about eating paint chips. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and that was lead. Yeah, that also is the same effect. Yeah. Heavy metals. That's why they're not safe.
Yeah, true. We're definitely scientists, and we definitely know how.
But no fluoride fucks up your teeth. So you need fluoride for healthy teeth, enamel, all that bullshit. I don't know. I'm not a dentist, but you do need fluoride. Yeah. Too much fluoride does mess with you.
What was that one lady that turned blue? Remember?
That sounds familiar.
But I was watching a podcast that was talking about it, and it just baffles me at how easy it is to start a cult. Because she started a cult on how she's mother god, and that she needs to drink all the alcohol in the world. And I think she was doing something. I think it was silver. I think she was finding a way to drink silver.
That sounds familiar. I remember something about skin color. Maybe paint sniffing or something.
Died blue. Like literally, she was dead and she was blue. I don't remember what it was, but they were talking about how they also would find a father god, which was a dude she would be banging.
Yeah. Oh, I was about to ask, like, do you think how bangable is a blue person?
I don't know.
I think kind of like bucket list shit for some like sex addict.
That is like, you know what? I haven't fucked a Smurf.
Yeah, exactly. Like you ain't even got to use paint. She blew already.
She already blew, and she's about to expire.
Yeah. She didn't know that, I'm sure, but
yeah, no, of course not. But
it just brings more value to. You're not promised tomorrow.
That is true. You got to live every day. You got to eat silver.
Live silver. Fuck the Smurf. Did you hear that the Smurfs are all guys? There's no female Smurfs.
It's not very woke of them.
But in the show they have one female, so supposedly that's a guy.
Trains.
They all like run the Smurf train.
Yeah, they all run the Smurf train on the one.
Papa Smurf like pinch her out.
Hey, that was the first like lady.
It's kind of scary.
It's kind of weird. I mean, you got to look at the times too. It is kind of weird because they did come up with. I wonder whose high ass came up with the Smurfs.
Acid.
Yeah, shrooms. When did the Smurfs come out? I don't even know.
Probably like the 70s. I mean, I can Google it, but I would imagine the 70s because it's on Boomerang.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Because weren't they kind of like the dwarves a little bit?
They're like little village people, yeah.
Yeah, but like you know how the seven dwarves all had like a personality. They're like grumpy, stupid, and
gotcha. Well, this is that the comic first came out in 1958, and then the television show aired in the 80s. So for 30 years, I guess people were reading about them.
Yeah, finally became a cartoon. That's weird. That's weird to even think about that. At that time, they came up with an all-dude cast. They're like, we're gonna make this one a little gay.
Well, the guy who probably wrote it was like, oh yeah, little blue people at my whim. And then they got the one human. He's like, I need him. I need him.
He was probably into midgets. He was probably like, I'm getting tired of midget-sized people. I want. Oh wait, sorry, small people.
You're familiar with season 3, episode 1, The Boys?
The Boys?
Mm-hmm. That guy shrinks super small and he's running.
Yeah.
Nasty.
The nastiest possible. But
I stopped watching for a while after that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It actually got better. It got more artistic growth. I don't know. Did you see?
saw season 1 and 2, and then that first episode of season 3.
Oh, that's what you saw.
Yeah, because I was like, I need to watch this when the kids are around.
Yeah, I think the end of that season they have a hero orgy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
well, I've seen the videos. What's the main character, the superhero?
Homelander.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, low key. I ain't gonna say he's right, but I fuck with Homelander.
I kind of do too, man. Like that's what a real unstoppable superhero in real life would be like.
True.
You are a god on earth walking amongst these people.
Yeah.
You can feel self-righteous, yeah. You can also be like, fuck all these people, man. You can go either way.
That's why I kind of don't. I mean, I don't mind Superman as a comic book character, but whenever I see Superman, I just think of literally the opposite, which is Homelander. And Homelander is literally the most realistic person if they were to have Superman power.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you could say that you have no ego when you're literally can stop bullets and can throw things across the whole nation.
Yeah. They've even poked fun at Superman like in Family Guy. With the whole like he brings flowers on a date and he x-rays visions her stomach and he sees the baby, he's like, I can't remember, he's like, I gotta go. It's like,
yeah,
ain't no like self-righteousness.
Yeah, there's no self-righteousness right there. But
because if you look at the popes and pastors in the Catholic Church,
true.
I don't even know if like preacher. Speaking of preachers are Christian or whatever. What?
Preachers I think are Christian and then pastors are Catholic. Yeah, because a priest is like a higher up person in the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
But I think pastors that guy that does exorcism, or like not purposely does exorcism, but he's like on the phone.
He like gets assigned.
Yeah,
travel.
Which is interesting. Do you see the Pope said that it's cool if gay people are priests?
I did not.
Which is interesting. It was like they're already admitting.
Dude, there's like a whole Illuminati.
Yeah.
Right. Like, have you ever like read up into it or watched videos about it?
I haven't really read up. I just look at the little funny things that correlate together. Like right now, people think it's Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah,
That's the Illuminati.
Like the whole Beyonce's never pregnant. There's like a video circulating. She sat down and she's supposed to have a belly bump, but when it's like slow framed, and she sits down and her whole stomach concaves. Because they say it's like a balloon or something, It's like something stuffed in there to make her look pregnant. Mm-hmm. Supposedly, she's also a man.
I mean, they also said Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Which I think I saw a whistleblower talking about that Obama was the first gay president, and that who also announced that Michelle Obama was a man. Which you also heard the memes of Big Mike. Big Mike,
dude.
It makes sense, but at the same time, like you can't hate on the guy too much about it because you know what? Yeah, he's
okay. So take all that information, whether it's true or false. Take all those conspiracy theories and line them up and put them in a big pool. How old would you say you were when you were introduced to that kind of side of the internet? You're like, oh, there's
some weird stuff.
There's some weird stuff that kind of makes sense, but most of people, it's not true. It's crazy talk.
Yeah, I think my mind started switching over when I saw V for Vendetta. I think that was like in 6th grade. Yeah, I was like, that's kind of weird how the government just like does all this. I was like, that'll never happen. But at that point, I think I was gullible to say that would never happen. And then now
dude, that happens all the time.
Yeah, I know. And then now I'm sitting here and like, dude, this is literally like a couple elections away from just happening.
It's crazy how many things don't make sense. Like they happen and are justified as like coincidences or it was unrelated to this whole thing. Like for example, this OpenAI whistleblower came out dead. Did you see that?
I didn't see it, but I think you were telling me because I've been using AI.
Yeah. Well, he worked on the project. He was with AI. I think it was like 4 years, and the last 2 of those years he was working on ChatGPT. Yeah. And his whole thing. Oh, I did talk to you because his whole thing. He had problems with the copyright. Like it was unethical practice of I guess how the programming works. Yeah. So he left like on his own, and then he became a whistleblower, and then they found him dead, and then they looked into the murder scene or like suicide. It was noted as a suicide.
Mm-hmm.
As a suicide, he was bruised all over his nuts, like in his groin. So it sounded like he was tortured, and then supposedly blew his brains out. I can't remember if they said from the back or from the front. Oh no, he blew it from the side, and it didn't kill him because there was blood being. There was a sign of him crawling out of the bathroom, and then that's where he eventually died.
Dang.
And then his place was trashed, and I think it had to do with some sort of USB they were looking for, something they were looking for something. It was just very weird. His parents, don't believe it's a suicide. They're like this. We know our son, and they were close. They like spoke with his mom every day. So they've gone and hired a private detective or private investigator, along with other folks that are looking into it because it just doesn't line up.
Yeah, just doesn't make sense. And he's talking about AI, which, in my honest opinion, I think AI is going to turn into our future dystopia, just like those. I mean, even like those animes where it's like futuristic robots and things of the nature that make society move forward.
Yeah,
with still that like old cottage kind of still feel to it.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of scary, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
This morning I was watching a video. It was they were just doing. It was a husband and wife driving in a car, and the guy's like on the phone, excited that he found some sculpture they were looking for.
Yeah,
and the car replies, "Please stop yelling." But the guy's not even. He's on the phone, excited and yelling. Like, why did the car say that? So are the cars programmed to like minimize the volume, or is this like a, is it kind of like
detect something?
It's kind of escaping and saying, "Hey, like, don't yell at me."
That also brings up. Okay, so there's two things. First thing was, do you remember when there was a domestic violence that was called because Alexa was around?
That sounds familiar.
And it picked up everything that you said, and it called 911 and
on its own.
On its own, dispatched police because it was listening. It was literally listening to the whole conversation, and it was deemed like domestic violence. But I don't think it was as crazy, but it was a.
But to have it on his own,
yeah.
Now, I guess is it programmed? Like, I guess that's the other thing. Like, who is programming these things to say pick up these words and X Y Z happen?
And it's also like it's searching the algorithm for keywords to find what you're looking for. So it might be keywords where it's maybe like "don't hurt me," like words.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, that would alert it to call.
Yeah.
Now the second thing is you saw the Tesla robots that they're coming up with.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already on our way to probably starting iRobot.
Fuck yeah.
As of like
the designs match up pretty good.
Literally in the next 15 to 20 years, we'll probably already be within iRobot, if not the beginnings of iRobot. But to go even further beyond that, have you ever seen the movie AI?
No.
So
is that the one with the kid?
It's a kid and it's Jude Law. Young Jude Law.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it, but I saw the trailer.
So this is what baffles me, is because this came out like 1999, 2003, that time frame. This was literally about a whole race of AI, like artificial intelligence, who are being mistreated and they're asking for rights. Obviously, it's being looked at, via like gay rights or whatever at that time, because that was the movement. But when I saw it, I looked at it as AI robots literally asking for rights, asking to become human. And they were, bullying a kid who wasn't really a kid. So now it pulled me as a young man to feel bad for this young man because he's not a real young man.
It fucks with your emotions, bro.
It fucks with your brain because you're like, no, man, it's fucked up. But then you think we're like, but
that's a good movie though. When a movie makes you feel a certain way towards something that's not real or the villain, like, that's like a good movie. Like, I think that's like good in the script, but not in real life.
In the script, but then it even pulls you in and thinking like, what is your psyche level?
There was 2 movies along those lines. District 9.
Yeah.
That kind of seems what I kind of see happening is like there's these visitors.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually are here so long that we kind of accept them.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turns into this frenzy of like the two cultures kind of migrate.
Yeah.
People are fucking these things.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna fuck like AI.
Yeah.
People are fucking horny.
Well, okay.
Animals.
That leads to another thing. But okay, a little side note. Did you know that movie's supposed to be a Halo movie?
District 9.
District 9.
A Halo movie.
Uh-huh. So all of that was supposed to be like Master Chief and all that stuff. But Peter Jackson, the guy who directed that movie, couldn't get the rights.
Oh, really?
And then so they just scrapped it and turned in whatever their budget was into District 9. Which was
I fuck with that movie.
That movie was pretty sick.
I feel like it's not a famous movie.
No.
It's not like a Grammy nominated movie.
It's also technically a foreign movie.
Yeah.
Because they're in South Africa.
Yeah.
Which, gets kind of weird because you think, okay, well, these are aliens that, that's kind of normal. But the living conditions is literally exactly what some of the South Africans do live in. Or just even people in Africa, they do live in that kind of condition.
How dare you?
Wait, I'm just saying. They do live in that.
Well, that kind of scary because, like, you've seen the drones hovering over the East Coast, or the stories at least.
Yeah. What are they called? UAPs?
Yeah. They changed the terminology now, too, because it's like, it can't be. I've heard that they've changed the wording so that, like, it kind of gets away from UFO because now they can kind of distance themselves from UFOs. So this new term. But
it's dicey though, because then you say, "Oh, it's UAPs," because you're trying to get away from a UFO word. Mm-hmm. But what happens when an actual UFO comes down? And it's what we're just gonna say, "Well, that's still a UAP."
It gets deeper. I've heard that the moon is not even a chunk of rock; it's a fucking satellite.
Ooh, could you imagine? It could be like Treasure Planet.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be crazy. As a kid, you're like, "Fuck yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome."
That would be sick. Honestly, that's a movie that needs to get made like in
real action.
Live action. That would be sick. Yeah. Just because of the crescent moon that they made as like a whole starship.
That's a good movie,
bro. Underrated. There's some people who be hating on that movie. I don't get you,
dude. Movies like that, they have such a stronger, like, scene for scene script and storyline, and details. Because the kid is following in the footsteps. Was it of his dad or his granddad? Because he has a book, and then he remembers as a kid his parents or his grandparents. Someone rose them up, and they're talking about this. So there's a lot of details in that movie.
So there's so many details in the actual movie that just, I think, tie into what our generation feels, which is this like sense of wanting, this yearning to go onto an adventure and just to do something
unknown, and explore and be
like it already talked about this kid who hates his little like family run restaurant, and it's not that he hates it, but he feels smaller, or he feels bigger than his actual small life, and he keeps trying to get that adrenaline junkie. And then by the end of it, it's like you kind of get this message of like, go do it.
Yeah, it was very inspirational.
Yeah, it's inspirational. At the end of the day, though, that's something that I'm looking maybe 30 to 40, maybe 50 years from now.
Yeah, that
could be our reality. Because
I don't know. They say we would have flying cars by now. I know. The shoes that tie themselves like Michael Fox. Yeah. Was it? Is that his name? Back to the Future.
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox.
This is what I'll say though. Two things. One, a lot of civilizations that have crumbled was due to gender.
I've heard that.
Like clashings, and I think maybe, in my opinion, they kept like the people who identified as two genders. They kept clashing, and they couldn't become this ultra like trans species, transgender kind of thing. I think, unfortunately, I'm not trying to be pro, but I am saying I think if that does become a thing where we become not even human anymore, we just become a being, I think it makes visitors to become more comfortable with coming here. Because if you look at every other movie, it's always like multi-species planets, like Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy. Every planet they kind of go to has humans, has like human-looking people, non-human looking people, and then just monsters itself, but that are like civilized. I think that's our weird.
Like the Green Lantern.
Yeah,
they all got different people.
Yeah, they all got different people, and they also like mold differently. I'm not saying that we're trying to make this in a comic book thing, but
well, I think there's two sides of that. There's the side that accepts everything and anyone,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the other side that holds it back that says, like, we're the human race. We're the top of the food chain,
Yeah.
regardless of who the hell you are in the universe.
Yeah, some Aryan brotherhood stuff.
Yeah, which, taken out of context, out of race, like, if you look at it as a species, like, wouldn't you want to protect your own species? Like, we band together, we live on this one planet, and there's this other planet called Mars that wants to come and inhabit us and take us over. Like, you're gonna want to band together, bro. That's your best chance.
It's kind of like weird, but at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to like that gang mentality a little bit, because you kind of want to come out there and say, no, like, it's human shit, right?
Yeah, it is straight up. Hey, and literally, the military is the biggest gang.
Yeah, literally. I mean, don't get me wrong. You do know how gangs started, right?
Did it have to do with prisons?
Yes and no. So most street gangs
Mhm.
became popular in like the 70s and 80s, if I remember correctly, because some of them were mainly, let's talk about the Bloods and Crips.
Mhm.
It originated because they came out of military and they were still, just because that they were an army person or they were a Navy person, they still came back to civilization as black.
With those same structures and thought in mind.
In thoughts in mind, but they came back black.
Yeah.
They came back no longer a soldier, they came back as black.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like
I knew that they came from Black Panthers, right? Like Bloods and Crips came from,
there was an origination
of that. Yeah.
An origination from that, because I think, if I remember correctly, it came from Black Panthers, and it came from former soldiers who just couldn't live like normal life anymore. So they kind of integrated and became not necessarily Bloods and Crips, but they became gang related.
What's that word? It's like military thought. It's that
a tactical mindset.
Like, yeah, it's just that mindset of order and ranking and structure. And you have, it's like a game of chess, right? You have all your pieces and they all mean something different.
Yeah, 100%.
Someone has to like coordinate all that.
Yeah, and it gets weirder too, because then that's just street life. That's just a street game. Because then even like, I think, I'm not gonna throw any family member under the bus.
Oh, shit.
But I do know that one of them has been around long enough to witness how Northerners and Southerners were like how they became like a big beef between it, because it was like originated from the Zoot Suit time frame.
Okay.
But it came down to a pair of shoes that got stolen.
I
mean,
and it blows up because my
Mhm.
your beef becomes my beef if we're brothers like that, and it falls behind everybody else,
and then it becomes a family beef. Then it becomes generational beef.
Yeah. Well, have you heard the study of the 5 monkeys in a cage with the banana and the ladder?
No.
So that had to do with 5 monkeys in a cage. This was like a psychological study. I don't know when it was done, but there was a ladder and there's a banana bunch at the top, and the monkeys would climb it. And when the monkey would get to the banana, all the monkeys get hosed. And so over time, none of the monkeys went up. Yeah. They took one monkey out, put another one in. That monkey wants to go get the bananas. The other monkeys pull him down, beat the shit out of him. Yeah. And they jump him. Huh. And so over time, they keep doing that, and they pull one out and replace them. And eventually, the original 5 monkeys are out of the cage, and there's a new set of monkeys that have never been sprayed with water, but they do not go for the bananas. So it's like that. It's like our beef today. The next 3 generations down the line, they don't know why they're beefing. They just know that it's beef. Yeah, they just know that it's when this dude is trying to do something, and you got to pull up. Where did the CIA fall in all this, though? Because there are theories, and I guess there's even...
So I think this is where it comes down to, is where in the 80s, that's where the crack epidemic came. Freeway Rick Ross is, I think, how kind of a lot of this comes in, where the CIA kind of does an informant thing. Really, I mean, he's talked about it. He's talked about it on certain podcasts where there was someone of the CIA,
like
representative in that group, kind of got him to sit down and to say, "We got this thing coming out. We need you to push it around." And then he went and started. He became Freeway Rick Ross, which is interesting because he got sued for Rick Ross using his name.
The OG Rick Ross got sued?
So Freeway Rick Ross sued Rick Ross for using his name.
The correctional facilitator, Rick Ross.
Well, then here's
correctional officer.
Yeah, but this is the thing. He didn't win.
Why?
Because it wasn't that Rick Ross. He said he heard it on the radio from a different Rick Ross in Florida.
Is there another Rick Ross in Florida?
I have yet to hear any Rick Ross in Florida.
Because I've heard that whole, and I only seen and listened to Rick Ross on Vlad. TV.
It's weird because I feel bad for him, even though he kind of like.
I think he was on Joe Rogan too.
Yeah, he was on Joe Rogan. He made a shirt company too.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
But
wasn't it called like the Real Rick Ross or something like that?
And I think he got sued because of that again. Because of copyright.
Don't turn the fan off, bro. I'm cold.
But I didn't even know about that monkey thing. It kind of shows you what King Caesar did.
Caesar.
He just pulled up and said, "No, bro. Imagine a monkey standing on his hind legs and just staring at you." Just like,
dude, I just saw a video of this pizza delivery driver.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never forget this. And it was he opened the pizza and it's a chimp in like a Letterman jacket and skinny jeans, and he just walks up, gives the cash, and it's a straight up chimpanzee. Dude, if I saw that, two things come to mind. One, run, because chimpanzees are aggressive. They can be aggressive. But two, I want to shake your fucking hand.
He's like, bro, I don't know who's trained you, but
dude, this is a once in a lifetime. You've never seen that shit.
Well, then you're losing your hand because he might think that's a threat.
Maybe.
Which is interesting because have you seen that lady who was having relations with a chimp?
No.
And
maybe. Was her name like Lisa or something like that? It
was like, I wouldn't say like a farmer, like a ranch kind of style, but she brought a monkey in, gave him a little bit of, not tranquilizer, but something that numbs him down. Has had relationships with this monkey. Brings in another person, and he got jealous and fucked her up.
Over the monkey?
No. The monkey fucked up the other lady.
Oh!
Yeah, like, no. If I remember correctly, the monkey bit off a tit.
Damn!
If I also remember that the same story, he also grabbed a shotgun. Whoa. I obviously we don't have a producer right here, but I remember that distinctly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up
because it's probably the most bizarre for the fact that bit off a tit, got a shotgun, learned how to use it because of Terminator on the TV.
Dude, can you imagine that monkey just single arm pumping that?
It has the strength to do that too.
Yeah. Dude, chimps are just like us, except we just evolved differently.
Except, we actually make fun of each other for being slightly retarded.
Dude.
But they're just full, like...
So when I think it was my first year in community college, we had a biology project. And I chose to do mine over evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, my initial thought was, what came before Homo sapiens and what like evolved and mutated to become Homo sapiens. And then so through reading all the
homosexuals,
that's what we're becoming.
Yeah.
There is such a long lineup from like fish to human type deal. And there's so many different variations of Homo sapiens that were just, just a couple of...
Because wasn't it like technically Neanderthals?
Right, there's one of them.
To like, I don't want to say caveman, but they were more monkey than they were human. Yes. But they were definitely not monkey.
Well, here's the thing. There were some of them that overlapped in different parts of the world. So now when when someone wants to be like racist, you're like, well, actually, there are different species of humans. There might be. I don't know. Yeah.
Which does, at this point, I feel like we've integrated so much that we all kind of have everyone's somewhat DNA.
Well, like, for example, you take tribes, uncontacted tribes that have been isolated for centuries.
Yeah.
And you look at their bone structure, different than ours. And you take a look at their brains, different than ours. And you take a look at everything. Like, some of those tribes, I imagine, could do things that we can never do.
Yeah. And most of those tribes are second and third cousins, if not seventh cousins.
Yeah. Did you hear about they dropped technology off to them, like
in the ones in the Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they got hooked on porn within a week.
Which is wild because it's like, it's kind of, if you give if you give a man a phone and he looks up porn, I mean,
You can't blame him.
You can't blame him, man. It was like, nah. I remember my first night.
the civilized, tribesman is like this full blown triple G, implants, enhanced human, and he puts it down and looks at his tribe woman. It's like the saggiest, skinniest things deflated, and they're all naked and mosquito bit. And he's like, let's put this back up.
Yeah, he's like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Which also reminds me, I think so. That was Amazons. There was some near Africa where it was an untouched, like they're actually protected. Native people of that land. I think they're like 34,000 on that island.
Wow.
But obviously, that's been recycled a few times.
Mm-hmm.
But they've only had maybe 2 encounters. One being a missionary from a long time ago, from when they were probably like only 1,000 to 3,000. It was a missionary trying to bring the Bible, and doing all this, but he was dressing them up and kind of making fun of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up killing that missionary, and then years like go by, and I think I want to say in the 2015 to 2020 time frame, or 2021 actually, there was another missionary who tried to make land. He got an arrow to the heart. Like they just didn't.
The last one sounds familiar.
Yeah, like I want to say he tried to come up short to spread the word of God. Maybe he'd like to do something else, but they already had it. Kind of like that monkey, the 5 monkeys. It's already beef that already originated to them, and if I remember correctly, he just got arrowed to death or he got speared to death.
Maybe even eaten.
Probably because that's only.
That's a good meat. That's like live game right there.
Decent meat whatsoever. I mean, I got something to eat.
Yeah, man. I'm muzzled up, bro. There was something like that where I heard. I don't know if it's true, but it was a story about a guy who went to an uncontacted tribe, ended up disappearing, and then about 20 to 30 years later, they go back to recontact the same tribe, and there's like one white guy out of all these other native, different, mixed folk, and they're trying to see if that's the guy that went missing, if he was just adopted and accepted.
Yeah.
I have to look up who that was.
That would make sense if he was able to like
understand and communicate and get a case across
and just make it more sense.
Yeah,
but that's to me that's a little sketchy. Which actually, okay, so there was a story, a little bit off on a side train, but it was kind of a nightmare of an article I was reading. 5 professional scuba divers who wash up on a shore. They wash up because they lost their boat. They ended up being in shark-infested water for about 4 days. Make it to land on an island called Komodo Dragon Island.
You know what part of the world?
I want to say it was near Madagascar. Same kind of area, if I remember. No, it's either there or the Galapagos area.
Okay.
Either way, it was like an island in that area, and they like survived on 11 more days of just sticking together and fighting off Komodo dragons. I think one of them was like 130-pound woman. Dude,
that's scary.
They
don't look very scary, but they're fucking vicious.
They're massive. They're literally, their body is probably the width of this table, if not just a little bit skinnier.
I believe the length of this table, like a 6-foot table, girthiness, I'd say about half.
Yeah, I think if we were to put it on the table right now,
I think you could fit 2.
I think obviously it would probably break.
They probably are heavy.
They're probably heavy. Just because I think there was a person in Florida or somewhere who rescued one, and obviously they had to give it up when it grew up, but it like grew up to about juvenile when they had to like give it to a zoo. Just because, what are you gonna do?
There's a James Bond movie. I think someone falls in the Komodo dragon pit and they get eaten alive, bro. They get tore up,
bro. They're so nasty too. Their bacteria in their mouth. They literally only have to bite you, and then they'll just wait. Because the amount of bacteria they have in their, it's technically venom.
Oh, okay,
but it's just because they don't like. They're not brushing their teeth,
right? Yeah.
So it says bacteria from previous, foods that they've eaten, previous animals that they've eaten, that's just built up into this bacterial venom.
Scary,
dude. And then on top of that, they literally run 11 to 15 miles an hour.
That's funny. Like alligators are quick for like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
you can
they're-
outrun those fuckers.
Yeah, as long as you got a nice, quick first step, I think you're good. But anything that can gallop that fast, yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah, I can barely survive on a treadmill for speed 5.
I'm cooked.
Yeah, I'm definitely cooked. That reminds me of the Nazu.
Something happened to your mom.
What the heck?
Squint.
Low device. I know we're still good.
Okay, I think it was just saying, oh bad, or